All right. Hello and welcome back to MASkillsusa.tv. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'd like to begin by thanking our sponsor of MASkillsusa.tv, eSTEM Solutions, LLC. We're grateful for their sponsorship and also the sponsorship of eComms, Event Communications, for sponsoring our studio. So now I'm in the studio here with one of our state leaders. Our state Eastern Region Vice President, Briana Lynch, has joined me. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Of course.
And she is one of our student leaders that will be featured this weekend, leading the other students as we move through our conference. And Briana is a student at Blue Hills Regional Technical School, where she's enrolled in the Early Education and Care program. So Briana, let's talk a little bit about your Skills USA story. So can you tell me how you first got involved in Skills USA?
Yeah, so I started my freshman year. I did the career choice commentary, and I talked about exploratory, and I had a great time just meeting the other freshman kids, and that was super fun. My sophomore year, I went to the Fall State Leadership Conference, and that hooked me. That got me into it. Sophomore year, I came back for the state conference and did the job interview. Then junior year, I went back to Fall States, and that said, I said to myself, I'm going to run for state office. And that's what I've done so far.
All right. Wow. Sounds like you've done a lot of great stuff with Skills USA. So you were elected as a state officer last year, and what has that experience been like for you?
It has been the most amazing experience in my life so far. It has just helped me to grow into the person that I really want to be. It's given me so many different opportunities to grow, and it's helped me get to where I am, and it's just built me into such a confident young woman, and I'm so proud and grateful to this organization for that.
Oh, that sounds awesome. So talk about some of the activities that have helped you become the person that you want to be.
A lot of different activities that we've done of traveling to other states to meet other students who are in the same position I am. Meeting with our state legislators has helped me get to where I am. Advocating for career and technical education, that has definitely just opened my eyes to how incredible career and technical education really is. And I think without career and technical education, I would be nowhere right now.
All right. Well, it sounds like you certainly have had some great experiences. What is your role at this conference?
My role at this conference is to make sure that every member is excited and that they are just ready to do the best that they can, to make sure that they're not super stressed out, that they're here for a good time, and just to make sure everything runs smooth and to, represent the members, of course.
All right. So representing the members. So if I'm correct, you're going to be one of the student leaders that's featured during our opening ceremonies. So how's that been going?
Super exciting. We have done a lot of training, and we did a lot of training last week, and a few days this week we've trained, and we've definitely gotten that. That's going to be a really exciting opening ceremony for everybody. So.
All right. Well, that sounds really exciting too. So there's going to be about 3,000 students descending on this complex in the next 24 hours. So what do you think about that?
I think it's amazing just how many people we can get involved at this state conference. It's just incredible how many students want to come, how many students are ready to compete, and how long these students have been waiting for this conference to come along.
Yeah, for sure. They're super excited when they get
Yeah.
here. Yeah. So let me ask you about that a little bit. What do you think the best part about being a Skills USA member is? What is the best part?
I think for sure it's, getting the experience, because the experience every Skills USA member gets is just one that's like unbelievable, because you're treated so well. Everyone is there just to support you, and it's just an amazing system, and everyone's there to compete, but it's really like if you're missing something, someone's going to help you out. It's a system that just works, and it's nice to be a part of.
Oh, that's awesome. So
I think it helps students to get an extra step into the world. It gives students the extra push out into the world that they may need. It gives them opportunity to meet with business partners that can help them in their future. It gives students the opportunity to grow like myself.
Mm-hmm. Certainly does.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And I know that you've come a long way because I've been on that journey with you for throughout the whole year. And What would you say is, could you pick a best experience from your Skills USA portfolio?
I could. It was the State Officer Training Week because I just learned so much. I am definitely one of the types of people that loves to learn. I like to take it all in, learn from every experience. So for me, that week was a lot of learning, and I liked that about that week.
Yeah, that was a good week for sure. So tell me about some of the people that you've met.
I have met with a lot of state legislators. I've met with like incredible business partners, and we've met with just tons of people, governors of education, commissioners of education, lots of just people that are so invested in Skills USA too.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me, going into your future, because Skills USA is really all about preparing you for your future, what do you think it will help you with?
I think it'll help me just be prepared, to adapt and be flexible with every situation that comes my way. I think my end goal is to become a teacher, and I think this has given me a lot of skills to fit into that position very well.
All right. So there are going to be a lot of teachers here.
There are.
So I think you have a lot of people that you could kind of model yourself after that will be here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had the opportunity, what would you say to your teachers? You can look right at that camera over there and talk to your teachers.
I would say thank you for getting me to this spot. I have grown tremendously, and I'm so grateful to have had this experience. Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for getting me to this spot.
All right, so we've been joined by Briana Lynch, who clearly is a very accomplished student leader for Skills USA. She is a student at Blue Hills Regional Technical School in Canton, and she has represented Massachusetts with great style and I think great professionalism. We're looking forward to seeing you during the conference and all the great things you're going to be doing. We appreciate your time tonight. We know you have a busy schedule. So we're going to be back in a few moments with an interview with, I think we corral a little bit and get an interview with him. So thanks for tuning in, and stick with us. We'll be right back.
All right.
Okay.
Awesome job. All right, well, welcome back to MASkillsusa.tv. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're super excited to get our conference off the ground. And tomorrow, we're going to be overrun by 3,000 Skills USA members here in Marlborough. So we're very excited. But tonight, we're really super excited that we have the state officers are in town, and I was able to corral a couple more of them to be interviewed. We just heard from our Eastern Region Vice President, and I was able to snag on their way by our state president, Dakota Chixaro, and our state secretary, Maria Baker. So we're going to talk with them a little bit about their Skills USA experience. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Karen Ward, and I'm the executive director of Skills USA, and I get to work with these young people all the time. So let's talk a little bit about your Skills USA stories. So Dakota, talk to me about how did you get involved in this?
So I kind of got involved by accident. My freshman year during exploratory, one of the informational technology teachers went up to me and he said, can you come write your name on this piece of paper on the wall? And I've always been taught to listen to authority, listen to my teachers. So I went up, wrote my name down, I saw the letters USA at the top of it. I said, oh, I'm gonna love that because I love America. And I signed my name, and it's such a simple reason, but I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And it was funny, at first I ended up failing. I didn't go through to states. He wanted me to compete in prepared speech and make it out of my school. But I decided to keep at it, keep coming back, keep trying something new. And my sophomore year, I ran, and I was fortunate enough to be elected to serve as a state officer for the first time, where I met you and I started working with you and my fellow colleagues on the team. And I loved it so much that I re-ran last year, and I was fortunate enough to be re-elected. So last year I served as the parliamentarian, and like you said, this year I have the honor and privilege of serving as the president. And it's been a ride. It's definitely been a journey from timid little Dakota shaking as he wrote his name on the piece of paper to sitting here now in this really beautiful room. It's really nice in here. I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and our sponsors are really generous to help us make it happen for sure. So basically, you were kind of just tricked into
pretty much, yeah,
getting involved in this,
yeah.
But that teacher was probably a genius for getting you involved.
He definitely is.
All right, so we'll talk about him a little bit more. So Maria, tell us about how you got involved in this. What happened there?
So when I was younger, I was always coming to different Skills USA events, like the district conferences with my dad, because he was a teacher, and he was always coming, and he was like, oh, just come tag along with me. So I saw all these teenagers in red jackets, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. And then I got a little bit older, and during my freshman year in exploratory, I had seen it kind of unfolding. Mm-hmm. And then my sophomore year, I handed an application, and they were like, fill it out. You're going to be a chapter officer. So I then went to Fall State Leadership, and I was asked to be a state officer. Didn't quite know what it was at the time, but then after the conference, it was pretty clear, and it totally just made me fall in love with the organization. And then I was fortunate enough to be elected, and it was a lot of hard work, but I'm so glad that I went for it.
Oh, right. Well, it sounds like you had teachers and parents
Yes.
that have kind of guided you in the right direction. So let's talk a little bit about what the experience of an officer is like. What is it like to be a state officer?
Oh, geez. There's so many avenues and there's so many aspects to talk about that's definitely one of the hardest questions. Even my parents, and this is, as I said, this is my second year doing it, they still don't completely understand what it is exactly that I do or all these different things. I'll go to a conference or I'll go to a meeting. Oh, where are you going? I'm going to Skills. Oh, okay, have fun, sweetheart, be safe. That's what it is. But there's so many different things as an officer that I've learned that we've done. Everything from community service initiatives to monthly meetings to help plan conferences and plan what our next steps are in the organization as an officer team, all the way to my favorite thing, which is just representing the student members. In Massachusetts, we're fortunate to have one of the largest membership totals, as being the state director, upwards of 34,000. And it's mind-boggling to think that I have the opportunity to represent the organization. So the training that comes with that and the experiences that we have, everything from my first year at officer training where I figured out that you're only supposed to use about a dime size of shampoo and not half a handful like I would always use. It's simple things like that just really open my eyes to the world and to how much there really is in front of me. Everybody that I've met, from state senators, U.S. senators, business and industry partners, the people that I've networked with, I think is one of my favorite things about being an officer, because as you can probably tell from the interview, I talk a lot. And I like to conversate with people. I like to get other people's opinions and other people's ideologies and the way that they operate, the way that they work. So I think that there's a lot of great things that have come out of being an officer for me. And it's crazy to think about the fact that I'm an 18-year-old senior in high school who still has the rest of his life to go. And I've already done so much. You know, it really makes me think, where else can I go from this? How can I keep improving based on what I've had from being a state officer?
All right, well, how exciting is that? So Maria, what about you?
It's the most incredible experience, and it's just a complete shock as to who I used to be. So it's helped me kind of get in touch with who I truly am and my more authentic self. It's helped me accept that and kind of like polish it up a little bit so I'm a bit more polished in that sense, and I can present myself in the way that I've always wanted to, but I never knew how. So now I've been able to make a family with 34,000 members. And it's the best feeling because you get to live high school in such a different way. And as Dakota had said, it's almost impossible to explain to anybody else in your life unless they're living it with you. So with my parents, it's more of like, oh, you have another conference? And I'm like, yep, I'm ready to go.
Even though your dad, I understand, was a member of Skills USA, is that right?
He sure was. He was a competitor
Awesome.
during high school when you were a national officer, actually. So
Well, how exciting is that? So you're kind of what we refer to as a legacy in Skills USA, right?
That's exciting. I didn't know that was
That is a thing, Maria. You are a
a fun
legacy.
term for it. I like that.
Yes, you're an actual legacy of Skills USA. So if you had to pick a best moment, I asked Briana this earlier. Maria, pick a best moment. I'll give you more time.
I was going to say, thank you for making her go first.
The best moment that I've had this year was probably getting up at fall conference and doing the emblem ceremony for the first time, because it was holding the hands, and the hands are probably the most difficult thing I've ever had to do because it's such an awkward position. But I was able to get up in front of the members, and for the first time in front of such a big crowd, I was able to actually speak. And I used to be so terrified of public speaking, even in front of a classroom. So that was just like one of those big steps where I was like, I can do this, and it was that giant jump start into the year.
All right. So what about you, sir?
You know, I thought I knew what I was going to say until Maria just brought up a really good point. I think the best moment out of both of my terms as an officer was actually a couple of seconds ago when Maria talked about growth and talked about improvement, talked about how she used to be horrified of public speaking. Because now I'm starting to look back on my campaign speech from my sophomore year versus where I am now. And that development, I think, and that moment of realization for me is the best moment, because it just makes me see through the support of the members, through the support of the staff, through my fellow officers, my family, how far I've come as an individual, as a leader, and as an officer. So I think everything mashed together in the culmination of different conferences and different events and that build up into my leadership skills to where it is now. I feel like that the realization of that is the best moment for me.
All right. Well, that sounds awesome. Well, I know that you both have really busy schedules, and I know that we're about 5 minutes from their next event, and they're being very gracious to sit here with me. We are super proud of you, certainly, and we're very excited for your role as student leaders leading our 3,000 member student conference, and we look forward to the role that you're going to play tonight and tomorrow. I know you just did an event, correct?
We did.
Yes.
So quickly, just tell us what you just did.
Do you want to go since you were presiding?
Sure. So we went into the Teamworks dinner where they were all being welcomed to the conference as they come tonight, and they get started right away with tomorrow and the ribbon cutting and all of that. So we had a little bit of a welcome to, calm the nerves of competing and all of that. And it was really exciting. We got to just give them a little welcome, give them a little bit of hype to get themselves ready for the conference.
Excellent. And you got to meet some of our sponsors, I understand?
Yes.
We did.
Awesome. Good. So Amoresco is one of our sponsors of the Teamworks competition. And tonight we were honoring Amoresco's contributions to the Teamworks event. So tomorrow you're going to be able to see some more footage from the Teamworks competition. And then tomorrow afternoon at about 3 o'clock, we're going to have live from the parking lot as people are registering. So they're all going to be here tomorrow. So again, we thank you, Dakota and Maria, for your role as a student leader, the sacrifices that you make to represent this organization and your families. They can be really proud of you. We're certainly proud of you. So good luck with the rest of your conference.
Thank you.
We'll be back later on with some more interviews from maskillsusa.tv. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to stay with us throughout the rest of the conference because we know it's going to be a great weekend and a great weekend to celebrate skills. Good night.